The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. We got ourselves a fine program for you, top to bottom. I'm excited for this one. I'm thrilled to be sharing this podcast / live stream journey with you and everything that comes with it. We got great stories this week. Not one, but two great guests this week. We're going to be joined in the second segment by Kelly Breaks and Paul Mezier, the developers of the Blue Frog Immersive VR concert app for the Apple Vision Pro. I love so much of what this interview represents. We get to talk to folks who are working in the VR space, which is pretty exciting. I've always kind of seen that as the next frontier for indie creators. I think we are on the precipice of VR really becoming something that indie creators can get involved with in one way or another. I still think there's some kinks to work out. The technology is still kind of emerging, but we're going to get there. And I think there is a real exciting opportunity down the road in the VR concert space for creators. And so I'm excited to talk to folks who are on the cutting edge of that to see what might be ahead for us and to see what might be right in front of us in the form of the Blue Frog Immersive app that's currently available for the Apple Vision Pro. That's going to be a blast. I'm excited to talk to both of them. I've always been something of like an AR interested party. A VR interested party. I love playing games in VR and things like that. And I think there could be some cool things down the road in the concert space. So I'm stoked for that. We got some great stories this week, also kind of about performing and performing music. And so we're going to kind of stay in that theme this week. It's going to be a blast. Excited to bring in our co-host this week. It is always fantastic when she joins us. Katie Zaccardi is here. Hi, Katie.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Katie. Now, you have been, over the last couple appearances of yours. Hello, doggy.
My dog is here.
Over the past few appearances, you have been working through various stages of your re-entry into the fantastic artistic world of community theater. You've been part of your local theater's production of Legally Blonde. And I believe as we do this show now, you just wrapped up your foray into theater. The show has finished. How are you feeling about it? And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling great. It was kind of scary because I hadn't been in theater in 13 years. Obviously, I've like performed and done other things, but I have not done like musical theater, which is a different kind of pressure. Like there's pressure when you get on any stage, but when you have to like say words in scenes where people are counting on you to hit beats and do specific dance moves, you know, it's different than just getting up there and singing your own songs, and you can kind of have the freedom to do what you want. So it was both. It was like very new, and like I had to flex a lot of muscles I hadn't flexed in a really long time, but also felt just like so familiar and like exactly what I was supposed to be doing. So it was so much fun. We had a 2 weekends of shows, 8 shows, and we just wrapped up. And yeah, it was amazing.
Well, congrats for that. Now that you've done this and this is in the books, do you see yourself doing more acting going forward?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like now that I kind of got the bug back, I'm going to like keep auditioning for stuff. There's a lot of stuff around Nashville. Not all of it is in Nashville, but it's kind of around the area. So I will absolutely be trying to do some more stuff around the area.
Good for you. That sounds like a blast. Any interesting stories of your show that you could share with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, so if for people who know Legally Blonde, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't know it, you'll get the gist. But my main track is Kate and Chutney. If you've seen the movie, Chutney is the one at the end with the perm who is on the stand, who, spoiler alert, murdered her father. And so I play that track normally, which is very diverse and fun. But I also understudied for Serena. However, it's community theater. So like you're not getting like understudy rehearsals or understudy runs or anything like that. You're kind of just there in case something goes terribly wrong. Well, on the second Saturday, something went terribly wrong.
Oh, no.
Our normal Serena had really bad food poisoning. And she like thought she could push through. Like she had been sick. She thought she could push through because she had people coming to the show. And she just like couldn't. And she thought she was good. She was good. And then like literally at places, she was throwing up again. So they held the show for 12 minutes. Everyone in the audience was probably so confused, but we had to do a couple swaps because obviously I had to go on for her track, but then somebody had to go on for my track. So we had like costumes. And again, this is community theater understudies. Like nobody's like there are no understudy costumes. Like I had to just wear her costumes, and the person who went on for me had to like sort of wear my costumes, but we're not all the same size. Like it was just like figuring things out and then going right on stage.
They're just picking people out of the crowd.
Yeah, they're like, you're on. No, luckily we knew who was going to go on for me if this happened. So she did go on for my part. And then someone covered the couple parts that she had. So it all worked out great. But yeah, it was crazy because it wasn't even like the morning of. I had a heads up that she wasn't feeling well, but everyone was like, it's going to be fine. Like she's just like not feeling great, but she's going to go on. So for it to happen literally at places was a little kooky, but we made it through. We did it.
I mean,
it was really fun.
I mean, that's terrifying. That's like the nightmare that every actor has, that like, you know, the dream of like, you have to play a role that you've never really rehearsed that significantly right at that moment. I mean, you knew all the lines. Were you able to do the choreo? Like, were there parts where you're like, oh God, what am I supposed to say or do here?
Yeah, no, great question. And I will say too, this was my first time ever understudying, and I was really intimidated by it, but I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to learn. And it's funny because I carpooled with the alternate L, but she got 2 shows. So she was like an alternate and understudy, but she got 2 shows. So she had to go on, like her part was very real. And as we got closer and closer, I was like, you know, I know the lines and I know the songs, but like, I'm just really having trouble finding the motivation to like perfect the blocking or whatever, because I'm never going to go on. I'm saying to her, I'm like, I'm never going to go on. This is like so silly. Okay, I was wrong. But I knew pretty much all of it. Luckily, she was out one day of tech, so I got to do like a very bad stumble through of Act 1 in her role. Yeah. And then I never did Act 2, but I had practiced the main dance in that enough that I could fake, and it was like easy enough for me that I could like fake my way through it. There was a lot of last minute cramming and a lot of last minute review. Luckily for this part, if you've seen the show, you know this. If not, she's one of like 3 Delta News, and they kind of like move in a unit. So rarely, aside from singing solos, rarely am I doing anything like completely alone, which was good because I could just have some other girls be like literally right before be like, okay, this is it, right? This is what we're doing. Okay, great. So that worked out in my favor. And then there was one scene, which is called What You Want Part 2, where I just didn't go on. Like normally that character would go on, but we had stunts happening and that person is normally in the stunts. So what we did instead, and they had done this before we even knew if I was going to go on or not, since she wasn't feeling well, they already switched the stunts to be someone else so that she didn't have to do them. So I just like straight up did not even go on for the dancing part because it was just safer and better for everyone for me to like not be involved with that. So all that to say, yeah, it worked out well. Did I stumble on some choreo here and there? Yeah, probably. But I didn't miss a line and I didn't miss a note or a lyric. And that's what's most important. So
Absolutely. That's great. I mean, do you know how many people are casted as like an understudy or a swing in like community theater, high school theater, something like that? And they all have that moment you did where they're like, why do I even need to learn this? Like what are the odds that like somebody's going to drop out like right before the show starts? Like that never actually happens, but it actually happened. Like you were going to be the story that everybody else tells about like what can happen and why swings and understudies are important.
Yeah. And I was literally like that morning or that evening before, like after the Friday show, I thought to myself, I guess I can take my script out of my bag because like I don't really need it. I don't need to be like lugging it around. I don't need it at this point. Again, wrong. Like that morning I wake up and I'm like, let me keep it in there just in case. And yeah, it was. And then I went on for the evening show too, which was very exciting because it felt like even though I only got to do it twice out of an 8-show run, it felt like I still got to get like some juice out of it and have a little fun with it, which was very exciting.
And I'm sure by the second one, like you were a seasoned pro at that point.
I knew everything. I could do it forever.
Like I'm a veteran now.
Yeah.
Like I'm like those actors that like have been playing the same role in Broadway's Cats for like 20 years.
For 20 years. Like that one guy in Hamilton who's been doing it since they opened or whatever.
Exactly. That was you by night two. Or by performance too. That's so thrilled for you and excited that you got through the show and that you got so many cool experiences out of it. And so now that we've brought this up, I think we can stay in this kind of same theme of performing live and all of the excitement that comes with it. Got a pretty interesting listener question that's kind of prescient right now. Basically what the listener asked was like, basically fuel costs are eating into my budget. As a touring musician, what can I do about it? And this is something that's obviously not just hurting musicians, but is hurting all of us. I think the gas station by my house is getting just perilously close to $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
And you can imagine how much that can impact folks who are trying to do summer tours right now as independent creators. The economics of live touring has been precarious enough lately for independent musicians. We've chronicled it at great length on this show in past episodes, talking about how it's just getting harder and harder to make the numbers work. And that was before gas became $5 a gallon. Billboard magazine, interestingly enough, about a week or so ago, had an article about this exact topic, basically talking about how high gas prices are really just screwing touring right now. And it's hitting tours in a lot of different directions, right? Obviously, fuel costs make it more expensive to make your tour bus or your van go anywhere. But even things like higher jet fuel costs are hurting artists who are flying for their tours. And even things like higher shipping costs that come with higher fuel is raising the price of merch and is raising the price of all of the items that go into making a tour happen. So it's a lot of just like ripple and cascading effects. It's making it harder for fans to go to shows because, you're not going to travel 100 miles to see your favorite artist if, the higher fuel costs come into play. And perhaps the worst thing about it is that this is not going to be a problem that's solved anytime soon. The Billboard article talks about that even if the Strait of Hormuz opened up tomorrow, it's not going to like fix gas prices tomorrow. It would still, because of the way supply chains work, it would probably take through the rest of the calendar year for energy prices to even out again. By the way, like I was kind of a geography dork when I was in middle school and high school. I know that doesn't come as like the slightest bit of a shock. But like, I can't be the only person who only found out what the Strait of Hormuz was 2 weeks ago. Like, I did not know that this was a body of water. I did not know that it's apparently like the most important body of water in the entire global economy until all this stuff with the Iran war happened. And that's
like
just
really, really quick, just doing a quickie Google right now.
it's a body of water. It's near Iran. We've been bombing Iran. Iran's like, I'm pretty mad that you're bombing us, so we're going to not let any ships go through this very important port anymore. And now gas is $5 a gallon. That's where we are right now. and it's hurting everybody up to and including independent creators. And so when I got this question that's like, what do I do about it? I mean, I didn't know. I'm not a touring expert. I'm not a geopolitics expert.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to leave this listener just in the lurch. So I reached out to a friend of mine who does touring logistics. And I said, like, look, what advice would you give artists? And I kind of just listened and watched them like talk for, 20, 30 minutes. And I just sort of like took down some of their thoughts. And with them also conceding that, like, there's no easy solution here. This generally just sucks.
Yeah.
But I was able to take their diatribe and boil it down to a top 5 list of strategies that an artist might do to try to combat these high fuel costs from going on tour.
Okay, I'm very curious.
Yeah, I mean, and some of these solutions like are, try to fix things up on the cost side, like try to make, things your travel costs a little bit cheaper. But I liked some of his answers because they also try to fix things on the revenue side. Like, we can't make gas cheaper, but maybe we can put more money in your pocket to pay for that higher gas. Mm-hmm. And so here's what I got. Okay, top 5 list. Number 5 is, and I kind of have these in like order of like least helpful or to most helpful, or like most difficult to implement to least difficult to implement. But you can kind of figure out how to order it yourself. But number 5 is talking to your venue about trying to negotiate fuel stipends. If you're the kind of artist that has some leverage over your venue and, the venue wants you to come there, like you could say to them, look, like we need to negotiate something where you eat some of this cost of this higher travel expense. And depending on what kind of artist you are, that's very much possible.
Yeah.
Number 4, smarten up your routing is the advice they got. My expert friend said that, like, even before gas prices got crazy, a lot of artists do a pretty poor job of routing their tours, right? Mm-hmm. They don't take the most efficient route to get from city to city. They bounce around to like opposite sides of the country and come back rather than kind of like work their way methodically through the, a kind of a straight line through the country to minimize their travel costs. But with these higher fuel costs now more than ever, it makes sense to try to book your shows in a sensible geographic loop to minimize your drive time. Mm-hmm. Number 3, he said that he swears by an app called Gas Buddy, which is a app that you can use to help you find the cheapest fuel along your route. And there are other apps like that as well. Just, so you don't just, try to set up your fuel excursions in a way where you can find the cheaper gas stations rather than just waiting until you're close to being out of gas and going to like the very expensive gas station that's right off the interstate. That obviously, because they're right off the interstate, they're going to have higher gas prices.
Yeah.
So those first 3 are trying to fix the issue on the cost side, reduce the cost. These other 2 recommendations he had, I thought were interesting because they try to fix things on the revenue side. In other words, put more money in your pocket so that you can afford these higher prices. So one thing he recommended was trying to put more events in a single city. Like if you are touring in a city, you don't have to just play at whatever venue on your tour. If you have fans in that area, you might be able to play a house show or a private concert or a corporate event while you're in the city at non-traditional venues so that you can do multiple revenue opportunities in the same city while minimizing your travel costs. And if your fans are excited enough to come watch you perform at a bar or some small venue, you might have some fans that are equally excited at the idea of having you play a smaller, more intimate concert at their house or at their place of business. And then finally, the last piece of advice he had was lean into some kind of crowdfunding arrangement or where you have your fans sort of sponsor your fuel expense. Like tell your fans what's going on. They'll understand. They have to pay the high prices too. Say, look, this is more expensive than we thought it would be. We still want to make this tour happen. So we would love to give fans an opportunity to sponsor legs of our tour. We'll give you shout outs. We'll give you special rewards and benefits if you pay us some kind of like sponsor fee to help us, meet these higher expenses. And depending on the kind of fans you have and how badly they want you to tour, they might be willing to do that sort of thing in exchange for special benefits and prizes. So there's no perfect solution here, but we're going to be living in this world for a while, thanks to our just completely stupid geopolitical activities. And we have to figure out how to address it accordingly. Do any of those pieces of advice resonate with you, Katie?
I mean, I think all of them are super interesting. And I will also add to the gas app thing that I know that there's an app, and unfortunately its name is escaping me, but I can try to Google it during our break, which gives you cash back at some gas stations. And I think you just submit your receipt. And there's also a lot of apps that will do that for groceries as well. So I know we're talking about gas, but really, again, it's like, if the gas is high, you want to try to figure out how you can keep the cost down in general, right?
Well, and food is more expensive because gas is more expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And so groceries are going up. And so I haven't been on tour in this capacity, so I hope this advice isn't tone deaf. But just thinking about how I tend to operate in a money-saving way, there are apps as well where you can get cash back on groceries. And again, I'll get the name of it, the one that I use, which is escaping me after this. But you basically submit your receipts, and you can go in the apps and see like what items you can get cash back for. Like they'll have like rebates, $2 off this. And so if you go to Whole Foods, for example, which might already have sales, you can like double down on stuff, or Kroger or Publix. Like you can look at what you can get extra money off and then submit your receipt and then get that cash back as well. So it's silly stuff, but it's kind of time consuming and it feels like little, but like you'd be surprised at how you could get an extra $20, from your cash back stuff that goes a long way towards gas to make up some of the cost that you're spending, or just like lower that grocery bill that you might be spending money on. So that and a rotisserie chicken, those are my best tips for saving money.
I mean, and yeah, those little gas savings you get from those rewards programs, they're not going to make a lot of money for you if you're just a regular commuter like you or I. But if you're touring, if you're driving 2,000 miles on a tour, that's going to start to add up for you.
Yeah.
And so I think that is sound advice, Katie. I think another thing that artists are going to have to just prepare for is the idea that we need to kind of reconfigure what it means to perform live. I think, to make the numbers work and to still reach the amount of fans you want to reach, most artists are going to need to combine some version of physical world touring with virtual world touring. And I think more of the artists can invest in their live streaming operation, doing things with like a Twitch channel, volume.com channel, do a shout out to our live streaming partner, volume.com, making that part of the way you perform live and giving people an opportunity to watch you in cyberspace is useful. Shout out to our friends coming up in the next segment. VR concerts are going to be a new wave in all of this as that technology becomes even more ubiquitous. And you are committing malpractice as a musician and as an independent creator if you don't start investing in those resources and learning about those worlds as well. Because I think, touring's not going to get cheaper. And so trying to figure out ways to still reach your fans and play live for them, even if you can't travel physically to them as much as you used to, is going to be a important aspect of what you do. One more story before we bring in our second segment here, Katie, is in the opportunities where you are performing live and you do get a chance to be in front of those fans, I read an interesting article in Hypebot that was basically giving people the advice of don't be boring when you are playing in front of fans live. The Hypebot article was titled "Boring Bands Don't Get Booked." And basically it's, I'll just read from the article here to give you a sense of what they're talking about here. Quote, "Don't be boring. In a live setting, boring has very little to do with how you sound and almost everything to do with whether there's anything to see. Because honestly, we've all seen it. The performer staring down at an iPad, strumming, barely looking up. That's fine at an open mic, but it's not what people pay to see on stage." And what this article is talking about is you have to have an intriguing visual element. You have to have some interesting hooks to make your band the sort of band that actually gets booked, that people want to see live. Just sounding great is not enough if you don't have the visual element. I'll just read a couple pieces of advice here from the article. One aspect of being less boring is to consolidate or expand your visual identity. Quote, clothing can do so much of the work for a band's recognizability. Even just wearing suits boosts recognizability. Zoot suits, track suits, pantsuits, matching suits, a suit of armor. A band of mine once had colored sweatsuits for special occasions. Each of us had our own color, like the Power Rangers. If you really want to go the extra mile, try costumes. So I mean, I have other advice here from this article, but like, what do you think of that? Like, I mean, when you see bands, if they're just up there playing music, that's great. But if they have that visual element, if they have a good look, that matters, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm thinking of a band here in Nashville that they're cover band, not original band, but still they like wear costumes and it's very gimmicky. I do think sometimes stuff like that can come across as gimmicky, but I also think people love a bit. I know I love a bit. So it's like whether your bit is something visual where like you're Powerpuff Girling and every, one girl's wearing the same color every time or whatever, or you're wearing costumes, or whether the bit is something like, in every song you like, kind of like Sabrina Carpenter, but imagine she's not giving like a full theatrical performance, but like when she does bed chem, she like does a new position every time or something, and people are waiting to see what that is. You can still take an element like that where like if it works within a song, you say something funny, different, or you like do something different every show. People love a bit. So that would be like how I would take that, because I don't know that I'm gonna get up in a costume every show, but find a bit that you can do.
Yeah, that actually, there's a piece of the article that echoes that sentiment. It's a section called "Lean into Creating a Shtick." And
there you go,
shtick, bit, But here's what the article says: "Quote: cheesiness is fine. A few colored lights, a projected video screen, some props, funky dances. If it's gimmicky, there you go, or goofy, that's great. People remember those shows. Even a smoke machine or bubble machine puts you ahead of the curve. And both at the same time does even better. Just do something. My old band, the Big Fellas, was delightfully known for cooking grilled cheeses and hot dogs on stage." I love a good gimmick. Yeah, no, I mean, my I guess one of my all-time favorite bands, the Bare Naked Ladies, right?
Yeah.
Their fans would throw, whenever they sang the song "If I Had $1 Million," there's a line about eating Kraft dinner, and everybody in the crowd knew at that part to like throw like Kraft dinner macaroni and cheese on stage. And it's just, but that's the kind of stuff that it's important, because not only does it create a better live show to have those kind of gimmicks and elements and things like that, but it cultivates like a fan relationship in the same way that like people like to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show because you want to say all the lines and shout at the screen and do all the things that they want you to do.
Yeah.
And that gives you like a stronger relationship with the source material.
Yeah.
It's the same way in music, and particularly when, especially if you're a cover band, as you mentioned, right? Because you're playing the same songs that other people are playing. Like you really need to have
differentiate.
Yeah, you got to have that intriguing visual element. And it really does help you get booked because the venue knows that if you can draw people in with that gimmick, that means that there's going to be people at that venue, and the venue doesn't have to work as hard to bring people in.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Now I got to think of a bit. I'm like, what's my bit going to be? Dang.
Your bit is filling in on 5 seconds notice on a community theater show and just saving the day.
Saving the day. I'm the hero, if you will. Some may say.
I will indeed. You are the hero.
And very modest as well.
How much I would have like wilted in that moment if it were me and you.
Yeah, and I really think it was like 2 of my best shows. Because I had no choice but to be present. You have no choice. But I need a bit for like my solo stuff. So I'm gonna think on that. Maybe I'll have some like dry ice or something.
Like, if it were me, I wouldn't be like trying to furiously learn my lines. I'd be like in the wings with that actor who's like, on death's door, like violently throwing up and being like, I think you can still do it. Look, if you throw up on stage, use it.
No, but can I be real with you? I am like very emetophobic, like to the point where like I literally texted my therapist and I said, ha 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 ha. I had to go on and they put her throw up costume on my body and I had to go on in 5 minutes. Like, this is like the most exposure therapy I could have ever imagined. And so for me, I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll go on. Just like leave, just like get out and disinfect the entire theater and get out and I'll go on and get out.
That is some
like,
exposure
as long
therapy.
as no one is throwing up around me, I'm totally fine. Just actually, let's get the throw up out of the building.
Oh my God.
So that tells you where my priorities are at.
Oh my God. Man. God. In every story I've ever heard of like an understudy or a swing filling in, it's never been like the way you said it. Like the way, like you coming in at like the very last second, like that only happens in very poorly written movies and TV shows about high school theater, right? That doesn't actually happen in real life, except it happened to you. And that's
somebody
incredible.
is like on Broadway and gets like literally injured, like while doing the show or something. But yeah, no. And again, it's like, I kind of had a heads up because I knew she was not feeling well. And then I got to the theater and she did not look well. But again, she was like doing her makeup and her pin curls and saying she was going to go on. And I said, they were kind of like coming up with the plans of like, be ready. Cause if she's unwell at any minute, I said, okay, I'm going to go outside and eat a sandwich and I'll be back. And I walked outside and I ate a sandwich because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but you people are stressing me out. And if I'm going to go on, I need to be well fed. So be right back. Nobody talked to me.
I think if it were me, I'd be like, okay, this show is set in like a college and a law school. I'm just going to have my character hold a textbook the whole time and I'll just have the script in there. I mean, I got to think ahead.
I didn't need it. I'm not good.
No, my girl was off book. Hell yes.
Hey, and you know what? It helped that I have been listening to this musical since it came out, aka 2007, aka like 20 years. Yeah. So I think it's ingrained into my brain at this point, but that's neither here nor there.
We're all thrilled for you, Katie. We're going to give you the show's highest honor, the cartoon party horn sound effect for your great theatrical achievement. We're going to take a quick break and be joined by our guests, Kelly Brakes and Paul Mezier from Blue Frog Immersive. This is going to be cool. Don't go anywhere. Keep checking out Break the Business. Break the Business is presented in cooperation with Ryan A. Kairalla, PA. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA is a law firm providing transactional entertainment legal services, including contracts, business formation, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida. rkpalaw.com.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla with triple threat actress Katie Zaccardi. Always a thrilled to be joined by her, fresh off of her theatrical conquest in Nashville. I mean, if you're just joining us, if you're coming in on the radio, like, you need to find a way to scroll back, maybe go back, listen to us on our podcast platform, and just hear about Katie's amazing story of just filling in in Legally Blonde in a character that is not her character in the very last second, and not only doing it once, but doing it twice, because she came back and did the next show that same day and crushed it. We're all very, very proud of her. I mean, you were just kind of being like, okay, I want to get back into theater for the first time in like 12 years. And boy, did they just throw you right into the deep end with that swing experience there. But
a little bit. But it was a good way to get back in.
I'm telling you, making up for lost time, I would say. All right. Let's go ahead. Just real quick, wherever you can check out Break the Business, we encourage you to do so. We are on all the major podcast platforms, live streaming platforms, such as our friends at volume.com and Twitch and YouTube. And you can check us out on SiriusXM 145. Mwah! Much love to our friends at Slam Radio. Wherever you're checking us out, we're so glad that you are. Let's go ahead and bring in our guests this week. They are two leading developers in the area of VR concerts. We got Kelly Breaks, the president of Blue Frog Immersive, and Paul Mezier, the COO of Acute Immersive. Together, Kelly, Paul, and their teams helped build the Blue Frog Immersive app that recently launched on the Apple Vision Pro App Store. The app allows viewers to watch intimate VR concerts recorded at Blue Frog Studios using dual 8K stereoscopic capture, spatial audio, and head-track Dolby Atmos mix. You can find out more about our guests' work by visiting bluefrogstudios.ca. Kelly, Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here, and nice to see you.
It's good to see you, too. Paul, are you wearing a headset? Oh, he's muted. Can we unmute him?
Unmute yourself, Paul.
Oh, okay. Well,
You do that from your headset?
I was just enjoying the concerts that Kelly has put together. So that was so great.
Oh, he got lost in the VR world.
Oh man, that bit would have been even more perfect if he wasn't muted. But yes, for the radio audience, Paul was wearing the headset to start the segment off. That's the Vision Pro. That's a cool looking headset, by the way.
Yeah. So
And,
that's the tool that we're working with on the output, right, of everything that we're going to talk about. But this is what you experience VR with. So that's the Apple Vision Pro. It's a pricey thing, granted.
Yeah.
But price will come down. You know, all these things, just like DVDs or Blu-rays or anything, they were expensive at first, and then they started becoming cheaper and more accessible, right? And Kelly is the one with the vision who wanted to invest and get started in this.
Well, and we love what we have so far. Let me ask you the first question, Paul, about VR, since you came in with the headset. Sounds like you're ready to answer some VR questions. You two are by no means first movers in the VR concert space. We've seen VR concerts before. Blue Frog wouldn't be the very first folks in it, but VR concerts admittedly are a space that I'd say has something of mixed reviews from music fans. There are some fans who love it. There are some fans who are still learning to love it, and maybe don't love everything about it. What would you say, for the most part, are things that VR concerts largely are doing wrong and need to improve on? And what's Blue Frog trying to do differently in that regard?
Now, that's interesting. I think it's very good to ask the question as in what works and what does not, because as in with everything, there's some positive and some negative, or some room for improvement. Right? There's probably different genres where where it applies more than others, but I think we all come to it. Earlier in the show, you were talking about the gas prices and everything. There's obviously a world where you can enjoy a show remotely, and I spent a lot of time in the headset enjoying the shows that Kelly has put together and is putting together. I don't need to go to Canada, and as much as I would love to spend some time with Kelly at the venue, I'm just enjoying watching the shows at home. So that is sort of priceless in a way, because you're saving the commute or the trip. It's also much more comfortable because you're in the comfort of your own home, right? And for like small bite-sized shows, which is essentially what we're making right now with Kelly, it's really nice. If you want the full-on experience, and if you want to pay like, you know, ticket prices to go somewhere, then that's great. But just for like a quick fun entertainment at home, yeah, I think that's great. And you asked what can be improved. One thing that Kelly's paying attention to, of course, because that's not my world. I come from media and entertainment and from technology, so I'm helping here to build the app and figuring out how we can make money out of it so that we can all keep doing what we're doing. But music is not my background, and so I'm very happy to have a professional such as Kelly to drive the project, because one thing that he's paying particular attention to, of course, is sound quality. And I don't have the background at all to be the judge of this, but Kelly does, and it's literally the very first thing that he said, and that he pays attention to. It's the spatialization of the sound. So once you're inside the headset, just so you know, if the drums are on the left, visually on the stage, you will hear the drums on the left in the headset, and voices and everything on. Everything is as if you were there. So I think that, especially for music, I think that's something that is very important. Audio is, they say that in 2D traditional TV and shows, they say that video is like 80% and audio is 20% or something like that. In this case, with immersive, it's more like 50-50. Audio is really, really important because it's inherently a spatial format. You look around, and so audio and good sound quality give you the cues. Oh, I'm looking here now. Oh, the drums are kicking off. I'm looking there, and that's really part of the show, and that's what Kelly's paying attention to. So that's amazing.
Well, Kelly, let me ask you about that show, because from what I saw in the videos, one of the differentiators that I got a sense of when I looked at what Blue Frog is doing versus some of the other VR concerts that I've seen before is, whereas a lot of other VR concert platforms are trying to recreate big concert experiences, making you feel like you're in a 20,000 seat venue and make it big, big, big. Blue Frog seems to want to take the opposite approach. They're trying to make it smaller. The shows that I was watching, it was all a very intimate experience. You felt like you were in just a small room, almost like walking in on like a rehearsal or like a small recording session with the band. Why does Blue Frog think that the move is to make things smaller? What's the goal to try to accomplish there?
Well, I think fans want to get closer to the artist rather than being removed. And the thing about immersive in this VR world, and it's putting its presence. You're right there. It's almost like you're on stage, and you can see the guitar player, his hand right there in a way. But you don't have to look at the guitar player. You can look over at the bass player or the background singer, or look at the audience around the room. So you feel like you've got the very best seat in the house, like almost too good in some cases. We had some testing done with beta users, and they went, wow, I'm almost too close, and the singer was almost spitting. Felt like they were going. I don't know if you've seen the Metallica concert that Apple put out on the Vision Pro, but there's moments on that video where Lars jumps out, and it's like you're just standing back going, well, I'm going to get hit with a guitar here or something. It's pretty crazy. So I mean, that's the differentiator right here. And I got to say, Apple is top of the pack right now for their Vision Pro. It's in the spatial computing world. It's quite incredible. We are a live music venue, and we've been doing concerts for 16 years, and we started getting into video because our venue is pretty small and all our shows were selling out. So people are going like, hey, we want to watch these after the fact, you know? So it was sort of a product of expanding in a way that we could live stream to other people. So if you couldn't get a ticket, that at least you could be at home, or you could be in some remote place or on another continent watching the show. And that's how we kind of came into this. So we started doing live streaming 2014. We did Jefferson Starship with Earth Day celebration. And so we started doing live streaming subscription. And it's all great, the video, but it's 2D. And I mean, it's flat screen. And one day I went into the Apple store and I asked to do the demo on the Apple Vision Pro. And I just went, oh man, this is it. This is the very closest I can be to feel like I'm at a live concert. And it was insane how close and amazing it was. So that started a whole series of questions and research into how do we do this. And that's kind of how we got to the point now where we've launched the app on the Apple Store.
Well, I'm equally intrigued by that question of how do you all do this? I don't know if this is a Paul question or a Kelly question, but I'll just sort of pose it to both of you and let you all fight over the answer. Can you tell me a little bit about the production process for something like this? How is if I'm a band and I'm playing at Blue Frog, how am I being filmed? How am I being recorded? What is the environment like? How do these come together?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we started out as a recording studio, one of the largest in our area, and we can actually seat over 100 people in this, plus a big stage, like a 35-foot wide stage. And so we started getting into the video, but when we got the immersive camera, we did a lot of experimenting to see where we should put it. So we've got it 6 feet back from the lead singer. So that sort of seems to be the optimum. And we experimented with height and depth and everything as well too. So we shoot the show in immersive, and it's a special camera that Apple commissioned Blackmagic, their major camera manufacturer. So they made this camera for Apple. And so we shoot the shows in Apple Immersive. We also record the shows in full Pro Tools multi-track, and we have special ambisonic microphones that there's like 4 microphones within the microphone itself and within the housing, and so it picks up the whole acoustics of the room. And so we take all of that information and then we remix it into a spatial audio mix. So the sound, as Paul was mentioning, it head tracks properly. So if you're turning your head, everything turns in relation to where you're looking in the video.
That's the coolest piece. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very important part of it. So we get the mix, we do the post-production, and we then export it to what's called an AIVU file. Don't want to get too technical. And then we hand it off to Paul's company, who take care of all the encoding and getting it up to the app. So over to you, Paul, how you guys take it from there.
Yeah. So what we say is that we take the videos from the editing suite to the audience. So from the editor to the audience, right? And as Kelly was saying, the one of the thing that has changed recently, and that is enabling all this, because as you've mentioned, Ryan, the quality of VR has been up and down. Or we've all heard of VR for 10 years now. We've all been hearing of this for some time. But what has changed recently, and what is pretty important to stress, is this new camera that just came out. One, you have the headset, of course, that is great, but there are plenty of headsets out there. The one thing that has changed really is the camera that Kelly has mentioned, and it's called the Blackmagic camera. Blackmagic is a known, very well-known manufacturer of cameras. Anyone who's in the video business will know them. And it's the first time that you can buy something off the shelf, literally in any sort of reseller. It costs $30,000, a bit less now. And okay, sure, it's pricey. It's a professional camera, but it's very accessible for a business. And the quality of this thing, one, it's very high quality. It shoots like 4K per eye, 90 frames per second. So it's great. It's really amazing. It's also future proof, because that level of quality will take really some time before it gets dated. But the main thing that changes is that for the first time, it's simple. It's simple to use. It's just, the thing is big like this, a bit more when you have all the bits and bobs, but it's pretty small. And you can literally just put it, it's the same footprint as any other camera, like any other professional camera and you use. So you just need to change the angle. Sure, it's a bit weird. It has 2 eyes and 2 lenses, and okay. But overall, it's a lot more simpler. It's a lot more simple than a few years ago when you had to use different cameras at the same time, and then you had to bring all the images together.
Yeah.
There was a lot more post-production involved. And even though, sure, we're still ironing some kinks and everything, but actually it is definitely getting a lot easier now. And so just to complete on what Kelly was saying, basically what we do is we take all the software side, so all the technology side, after the file is done. So Kelly basically logs into the platform and he uploads his file. We encode it, we host it, and then we pipe it to his app, and so that people can stream it basically. So we're just, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just adapting it to the headset. All of these tools, the tools that we're using now are pretty much the same thing, just for flat screens. It's just that we built it to make it easy for headsets, native to the headset. So, and then we track analytics and all the things so that Kelly can know what works, what doesn't, and he can improve his business.
Looking at this from the perspective of independent creators who maybe right now are doing live streaming on platforms like Twitch in just 2D, how many years away do you think we are, as the technology, as the hardware and software continues to advance, from this technology being something that is within the reach of any artist, where a live streamer can start doing like good quality VR concerts with technology that they can buy and put in their bedrooms?
So there's this joke that is running around in the VR community of professionals, which is that VR has always been 5 years away. It's been 5 years away for 50 years or something.
It's like self-driving cars, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I agree. I'm guilty. I've been saying this, but it does feel over the last few years, and especially today, if you ask me the question today, it does feel like it's not 5 years away anymore. It's more like 2 years away.
Wow.
Yeah, I do think so, Kelly. I don't know what you think, but there's definitely something happening. I mean, I've been in this space for 10 years. I was in the motion pictures industry for a bit before, and then when I discovered VR, I thought I would dedicate myself to it. And there has been ups and downs, but it definitely feels at the moment that there's something happening. Someone like Kelly, for example, would not be doing what he does now if the tools were not allowing it, right? It's just the proof that it was complicated before. And Kelly, he can't afford to like figure out all the technical stuff and everything as it was before. That's just not his job. He's got other things to do, right? And so it's the proof. It's literally the proof that now an independent venue can do VR stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's honestly pretty cool. I'm personally, I'm really looking forward to all the stuff that is coming out.
I think it's probably sooner than 2 years before a musician that has the tools at home or a small studio, just the way things are advancing. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if it's a year to 2 years. But again, there's to do it properly. I mean, just like I've seen artists live stream from their living room, and I'm going, oh, like the mic, you could have had a better balance on the microphones and the mix and everything. It's really having the whole production team, right, it depends what you want to do. Some people don't mind just letting it out raw, and it's the real deal. But again, if you want to do like a fully polished professional product, it's really, I would still say it's a year to 2 years away though. And again, anyone could go out right now and buy the camera and be in business. Plunk your $30,000 down and go for it.
On that note, what do you think the timeline is for consumers and fans who would be watching that? Because as you said, Paul, at the beginning, there is still an investment to have the technology to be able to even consume these things. So how long do you think that will take to catch on? And how long, well, really, what do you see as the future of this being in this landscape? Do you think there's going to be a really solid split between live in-person shows and virtual shows, or what do you see that as being in the near future?
Well, right now there's estimated to be 600,000 owners of Apple Vision Pro units in the world. How many millions of Meta Oculus out there? I think there's an appetite for every one of those, so, but this is like the artist, for our model anyways, the artist still comes out and does a show. They get paid to play their show. They get everything. There's a revenue component to what we're doing, because we understand that the artist, if they have original music, not cover bands, but if they're doing original music and they control the rights, then we are making a deal where there's a rev share on the production as it gets sold on the Apple Store as well too. So we think, and this is just incremental revenue for the artist, right? They don't have to do anything different. They can be out touring. They can stop in, play an immersive show. We take care of everything, and it goes from there. So they're basically adding a long-term asset to their catalog. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. I kind of got off track there, I think.
It's okay. I like the answer anyway.
But it does lend into the discussion we were having earlier about how to maximize your revenue opportunities when you're in a particular city, right?
Yeah,
I
sure.
can imagine a future world where you play at a venue and then you stop over at Kelly's Blue Frog venue, do a little VR thing, and then you're off to your next date.
100%.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We've already got 8 concerts that we've shot so far, and I think we've got 7 up on the app already. We've only had the app launched for a couple of weeks, and we already got 2,000 people. So it's kind of cool. It's happening. There's a hunger for content in the VR world right now, like good, well-produced concerts. So that's what we're doing, and we want to establish ourselves as a premium destination for content in the live music space.
Our guests have been Kelly Breaks and Paul Messier from Blue Frog Immersive and Acute Immersive. You can find out more about the Blue Frog Immersive app by visiting bluefrogstudios.ca. I think was I interrupting you there, Paul? Did you have something?
No, totally fine. I just wanted to take the example. You asked the question, Katie, of when consumers will catch up or something. I just take the example of my wife every time. She works in tech adjacent, so she's aware of stuff, but she doesn't want to wear the headset because it's too cumbersome. Right? She said that's the word she uses, and that's fair. And so I'm not pushing it on her or anything. It just sits on the desk every day, but she has never put it herself, right? So I'm just watching for the day when the device is small enough that she takes it by herself and just wears it, and that's when I know, okay, mass market is ready.
Yeah.
We're definitely getting there.
I think that's right. Kelly, Paul, before we let you go, I want to give each of you an opportunity to answer our final question that we ask every guest on this program. We will start with you, Paul. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
Yeah. it's basically to create as much as possible. I mean, myself in my career, I've just looked at, you don't know what works, what doesn't, and it's just impossible to know what the future will be made of. But um, you just want to build as much content, and not to diminish the value of what you're doing, but you just want to make as much stuff as possible. And this is capital. This is capital that you build on. And then one day you look back and you're like, oh my God, I've done all these things. And then suddenly you're, an expert in the field, in whatever your field is. But yeah, just keep doing it. We need more than ever. We need beauty. We need fun. We need arts.
Kelly, same question. Do you have any last tips for the creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
Sure. Yeah, don't be hesitant about doing video, any video. Katie, you probably know, do those Instagram posts. It's interesting. 5 years ago, we would talk to a band, hey, do you want to shoot a live stream video? I don't know. I don't want people seeing my show because I won't be able to sell future shows. Like I'll give the tricks away or something like that. And now that's all changed, and we know it's a YouTube world, it's an Instagram world, there's video everywhere. I would say try to get a great video, because we also sell concert tickets, right? And when a band has their EPK totally together with great videos, it makes selling tickets so much easier, for the venue, right? So
Yeah.
don't have a crappy shot in the bar with the basketball game going on in the corner, shot on an iPhone by your friend. Like, do it right. Invest in your career. Get a good video. Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow,
Our
that's
thanks
pretty,
to-
that's pretty gold advice.
Solid. Our thanks to Paul Messier and Kelly Breaks. Thanks to Katie Zaccardi. Our thanks, as always, to producer Lauren. And, of course, our thanks to all of our viewers and listeners for checking out Break the Business. We'll see you next week.